Dun, dun, dun. You are live.
Woohoo!
Woohoo. Okay. Well, I'm just going to refresh this page real quick so I can make sure to try and get the direct link to share. Here we go. Perfect. And then people should be able to jump on as we continue live. Here is the link. Perfect.
How hot is it for most of you over there?
So actually
84.
today is, it's hot and humid here today.
84 is not hot.
For us in the Midwest, it is.
I know.
Oh.
I've got a bunch of family in Minnesota, and it definitely gets humid, and the humidity
Oh, yeah.
is a no-go for me.
Yeah, humidity is definitely not fun.
I was in the
We
parks
are-
this. I was in the parks this last week, this past Friday, and oh my god, the humidity was horrible.
I'm worried about it for D23.
Oh, I know. Me too. I don't even know. I'm like, I feel like I should just bring like 5 pairs of clothes because I feel I'm gonna need like so many, like just to keep everything dry.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be crazy.
I'm really worried about Oogie Boogie Bash and everybody's like fantastic costumes that they've probably been planning for
Right. Oh my god.
months and months,
months.
you know. And I'm like, oh gosh, like some of those costumes are just amazing, but I'm sure they're not the most breathable. We had a friend that a few years back went as Carl from Up, and he looked fantastic, but he had like the full wool suit on
Oh
and
my
like had a bunch
God.
of
Oh my
makeup on
goodness,
to
yeah.
make himself look older. And
Wow.
it was awesome, but it took a while for it to finally cool down enough for him to be
Oh,
comfortable.
right. That is awesome, though.
That's why our costume
We're
for Oogie Boogie
bounding.
Bash is going to be a bound.
Yes,
It's
we're
going to be a much
bounding.
better.
So
Yeah, I'm just gonna kind of be piratey themed.
There you go.
'Cause I have my pirate lounge fly I'm excited to use. And
Nice.
it's not gonna be an all-out costume though. And we'll see what Cassandra does. You haven't told me yet.
I'm not gonna do Princess Leia. How's that? I mean, I know she has a really nice costume, but
You don't want to rock the gold
You'd stay
bikini? I
cool.
mean, come on.
it's good. It's good.
You know, I was thinking you had already come up with what our
I was gonna
costume
say,
was going to
no.
be, but I was thinking that I should get what I finally wanted to get, because I was telling you I wanted to bring my lightsaber.
Yeah.
I should get one of the
Oh,
cloaks and be like,
Yes.
like a Jedi.
sounds very warm.
It does. It
Yeah.
does.
Might
But it'd be
just
cool.
need
It'd be a
the-
good excuse to buy
Yeah.
one.
It would be.
That is true. All right. We have a few people watching now. So welcome. And hopefully we'll get a few more pop on now. Just a friendly reminder, if you guys missed the Instagram post, I'm doing a little fun giveaway just because I can. Unused, unopened, going out of business. So hot commodity right now. Smells amazing.
That stuff's like gold. You're
I know.
giving that away?
We kind of took a lot on our last trip.
It's like you knew you had like a
It's like
sixth
I
sense. You're
knew,
like, I just
right?
need extras of these this time.
I just need like all my family. They don't use them, so like here you go. You can take the ones from our bathroom. Like, give them all to me. So the Disney Resort H2O conditioner, shampoo, and body wash. Couple disclaimers here. You do have to live in the continental U.S., be 18 years or older. All the legal jargon. Not affiliated with Disney, H2O, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. None of that. Just on our own, fun thing to do. Comment, participate, because we'll go back to all the comments of who was asking questions, answering questions, and that will be your entry for the giveaway. Bonus entry would be to share this live and just send me a screenshot, DM me Family Travel Folio on Facebook or Instagram or YouTube to show me that you shared it. And then the last bonus entry would be to listen for the keyword that I will say at some point within this live. DM that to me and that will give you your third entry. So
Wow. Pretty
yeah,
exciting.
just a little
That's way
bit of
easier
some
than
fun.
me trying to figure out where they had the squirt bottle on the cart when we stayed at the.
Oh.
Because I was trying to, because they don't have them anymore. You have to like
This was at World.
Yeah, at Disney World. They had them.
Oh,
It was the dispensers were like glued to the wall, and I
Yeah.
told Teresa I wanted some, but even the carts that the housekeeping people were on, they load them into like ketchup and mustard, like squirt bottles. So I was like, man, you can't even just take things off of there. So I think, didn't I grab some? I grabbed something and I squirted some in it.
Yeah, we were terrible. We took
Perfect.
one of our like containers that we brought our own stuff in, dumped it out in the sink, and sat there and like filled it from the wall. That's how we.
I I will be nice to Teresa. She did not have anything to do with this. She thought I was ridiculous for doing it. So if
No, that
Disney's
is
coming after
awesome.
someone, come after me. Don't go after her.
That is awesome. All right, so we do have a handful of people here. I'm sorry, YouTube is not showing me who is on with usernames or anything, unlike Facebook would. So sorry, I can't do a shout out to you or not. But welcome. Jump in, say hi, where you're watching from, in the comments. Join in on our this or that. It's going to start us off right now. We're going to ask Tag and Teresa from DL Weekly what they prefer in a quick fire this or that. They don't know what we're going to ask them, so this should be fun.
Do you realize how hard that is for Teresa? We're going to be here all day.
Yes, I know. We have about 30 minutes. So, and then let us know if you guys agree, disagree, and we'll have a little friendly start to our conversation today, and then jump into everything about their podcast that they have, DL Weekly. What it is, what you listen in for, and other fun info about the awesome Disney stuff they do with that. Okay, without any further ado, churro or Dole Whip?
Dole Whip.
See, now I'm the one that's taking a while. I want to say churro, but I feel like recently we've bought more Dole Whips than we have churros. But I think churro, a plain churro, regular classic churro, none of these crazy things.
Yeah, I really liked. I did just listen to your wedding podcast episode where you had the churro and Dole Whip cake, which sounds amazing.
If
So you
I
get
could
both.
like go back and have that every time I was there, I would 100%. That was just amazing.
Well, what was the cake that they had for Oogie Boogie Bash last year that they didn't show up this year?
Oh, that was the churro cake.
Yeah, they need to have that
the
again.
wedding cake had pieces of churro in the filling though, versus the other one was
So
just
good. So good.
so good.
So good. That's a tough choice. All right. I'll ask one more, and then Cassandra, if you want to jump to the next one here. Thunder Mountain or Space Mountain?
Ooh,
Thunder Mountain.
I was gonna say space.
Ooh,
We're
divided
just like
again.
on different wavelengths tonight, huh?
That's okay. People
They're
are
both
different.
really good. Thunder
Mhm.
Mountain's better. I'm just gonna say. No, they're
Oh,
they're both amazing.
You don't
All
have
right,
a
jump
fun dynamite goat to look at.
True. That is true.
Yeah, you can't do the goat challenge there. All right, Cassandra, you want to take the next couple?
Sure. Disneyland Halloween or Disneyland Christmas?
Ooh, Halloween.
See?
We all agree
I'm
on
with you.
something.
Yeah,
yes, we're a Halloween crowd here.
Oh man, it's just. I mean, both are magical, but there's just some
Yes.
extra level for Halloween.
Halloween's
It is
become like
extra.
the biggest holiday. I feel like it's
feel
gonna
it-
surpass Christmas soon.
It's giving Christmas a run for its money, that's for sure.
Yeah, I feel like, I mean, they can do a lot more like DCA, I feel like, too. So,
Mhm.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, next is Phantasmic or World of Color?
Oh,
Fantastic.
Ah.
World of Color is amazing. Don't get us wrong, but
I like this. Well, first of all, I'm a fireworks fan.
Mhm.
And so and I love the fact that it comes like during the day you walk through Rivers of Red and you would never know that a show happens there, and it's totally transformed. So to me, that's a big thing for Phantasmic. Plus there's fireworks, plus I have a lot of nostalgia attached with it from when I was younger watching it. And you know, I mean Murphy,
I love Murphy.
but World
Yeah.
of Color, like I feel like there's not a cohesive storyline. It's kind of like a bunch of clips, and Phantasmic like tells the
It's a
story.
bunch of clips. It's a bunch of
I
clips.
will
with-
say, though,
Mhm.
good.
I will say with World of Color, you have a great view in more places because
Yes.
Phantasmic, it's hard to see up close. Like you can see the overall big picture very well from lots of places, but to see the details of the characters on the floats and the ships and everything, it's harder from some places. So that is one thing going for
Very
World
true.
of Color.
Very true.
And I will say, I feel like I'm with you on the nostalgia part, but I feel like I had more nostalgia or more appreciation for it back then than I do now. I feel like now they kind of like skirt just enough where they're like, oh, it's almost like the original, but not really. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I hear you. Because one thing that I mean, there's the Pirates versus Peter Pan segment that we could go
Mhm.
on and on about that. But the one thing that makes me so sad that I think was so much magic for Phantasmic was all of the different, I'm gonna say, props and characters that they had. So like
100%.
I miss TikTok, I miss Flotsam and Jetsam, like that. don't get me wrong, the screens, that technology is very amazing, but there was just something about having like the tangible characters there that just made it that much more epic for me.
Mhm.
Well, yeah, because again, you think about pirates, and what do you like about pirates? Is the animatronics and the thinking behind that, and the
Yep.
classicness about it. And then, like I said, when they go and change it, it's just like you want to evolve, but not
Mhm.
stray too much to where you're
Yes.
losing the history, if that makes sense.
Yep.
Also, I mean, I like the original the best, probably because nostalgia and everything, but also
Yeah.
I don't need Mickey Mouse making a bunch of weird noises throughout everything. Oh, ooh! I'm like, you don't need that. Mickey doesn't need to be making noises.
I didn't
last
notice the Mickey
two.
noises until you pointed them out.
And now you can't
it's
hear
like
them.
Now you can't
Yeah,
unhear. All right, last two. This or that. All right, classic Haunted Mansion or Nightmare Before Christmas.
We've talked about this before, and really what they should do, they're not going to anymore, but they should have turned Toontown into like a Nightmare Before Christmas or like a villains area, and
That's a good
then
idea.
put the Nightmare Before Christmas version back there.
or at least just have a
Ooh.
Nightmare Before Christmas themed attraction.
Yeah. Because I struggle with this because I really like Haunted Mansion Holiday a lot. But I think that for people that are fans of the original, it is a long part of the year that it's that other version. So I
True.
feel conflicted. I think they're both great in their own ways. I wish you could have both at the same time. But if I
That
had
would
to
be
pick one,
difficult to have both, but I
Yeah.
see. Yeah, I agree. I agree.
I think if I had to pick one, I'd probably say Holiday because I really like the narration in the elevator or in the stretching room, which ruins the movie for me because the person who narrates the stretching room, I like that voice better than the voice of the narrator in the movie.
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah.
See, I think I'm gonna go classic
yeah.
on this. I adore and I love Haunted Mansion Holiday. Nightmare Before Christmas is one of my favorite movies. The Haunted Mansion is my favorite attraction. So, you'd think the holiday version would be the better, but I like the layers and the cohesiveness of the story for the original more so than the holiday one, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
I love pieces of the holiday one, but overall it's kind of like, yeah, like the two things
That's fair.
collided, which is what it is.
That's fair. Okay, last one. Guardians Mission Breakout or Tower of Terror?
Tower of Terror.
I think I'm gonna go Guardians on that.
Yay!
Yay!
It's just so
yeah.
the
Sorry, take your
bouncy feeling
outnumbered
is so
on this
fun.
one.
I just for me, I liked the original theming of the pre-show and everything better, but the ride is definitely, I think, more fun / thrilling in the new version. But there's some stuff that I missed. We talked in an upcoming episode. We have our second Imagineer we've ever had on. We've pre-recorded. This won't be till after D23 that this airs, but we talked to him because he worked on Tower of Terror, and I said one of the things I miss is that opening thing where the doors close and you start to back up and it turns into a star field. That was a great effect, and now you've just got Rocket, whatever. And I love Rocket, but I think that effect was so much cooler.
Yeah. See, I don't like dropping.
Sure.
So I think having the Guardians of the Galaxy characters in there made it a little bit easier for me to be like, okay, I'm distracted. This is not so. Nope, it's still bad. No, it's okay. Look at the characters. So that's my only thing. But both very, very well done and designed.
It also made me look ridiculous in front of our exchange student because it was the first time I had ridden Guardians ever, and I thought it was going to be like Tower of Terror. So I thought it would back up and it would like gingerly lift you to the first show scene.
No.
So I'm sitting there relaxed. I'm like, oh yeah, you just gotta wait. And it shot, and I was very death gripping random strangers.
I think that the thing that's really cool too about Guardians is the variety. We didn't have variety with
that's true.
Tower. So that's fun too. It's like I don't know, Pokemon or something. You want to like do all, you got to catch them all. You got to do all the different variations. Yeah.
Love it.
I don't think we've done every variation though.
We haven't. See, that's what's so exciting.
Yeah. All right. Well, those were some good answers. We will jump into a discussion on your podcast now. So don't forget, jump in with any questions that you guys have. If you're watching or if you're catching the replay, comment and we will get back to you. But we want to know a little bit more about DL Weekly. what kind of podcast is it? Just give us the overview. I know some people might have heard of it, some people may not. So just kind of give us, how did it start? Why a podcast? A little summary of what you got going on.
Sure. So, why a podcast? That's kind of Tag's thing more so. But basically, long story short, Tag, I don't even know how long ago this was.
A long time. I'll start the beginning thing and then I'll hand it off to Teresa where she comes
involved. Long time ago in a galaxy far, far away.
So in like 2011, I think 2012, that time frame, I worked part-time at a news station, and I liked the idea of like trying to do my own like news channel on YouTube, because YouTube was kind of getting big then. I mean, it had been around, but like everybody was trying to be an influencer around then. And I was like, well, I like Disneyland news. I could do a Disneyland news, TV thing. And it took so much time. Video is so much harder than audio. And so life got busy and everything else. So I stopped doing it. It was called Disneyland Weekly. It's the same channel that DL Weekly's on now. I renamed it or whatever. So those videos are hidden. They're there still, but they're hidden. And so all of that. And then I wanted to get back into it, and I'd gotten into podcasting. And so, but podcasts are boring when there's one person. So I wanted somebody to be with me on it. And I was like, well, Teresa likes Disneyland, and she's, fun and bubbly, and she'll bring that kind of enthusiasm that I don't necessarily have towards a lot of things. I'm more of the straight person, the straight shooter, like, very to the point, whatever. Teresa's more whimsical and everything. So I thought it would work out well, and it did. But I came and I asked her, I said, do you want to do this podcast with me? And I honestly did not think she was going to say yes. What did you think when I asked you?
I think I said yes. And at this point, I had never listened to a podcast before in my life. So I didn't even I knew what a podcast was, but I didn't understand why anybody, and I said, sure, we can do this, but I don't know if anyone's going to listen. So it was just kind of this fun pet project thing, I guess, when it first started. So we first couple of episodes were recorded in my dining room. You can hear the dogs in the background. You can still hear the dogs in the background because they like to hang out in the studio with us.
It was in my basement for a while, and my mom had this cuckoo clock, so that was also a recurring character in the background.
And then it just evolved, and I honestly am just like so shocked that it's become what it is today. We've gotten to meet so many amazing people and have people on the show that never in a million years I would have thought we would have been able to sit down and pick the brains of and ask all these questions of. And it's been a really wild and just incredible ride. And I remember still can't believe that we have so many people that listen and support us and follow us. It's cool.
I remember the first like big person that we had on, and I might be wrong, but this is the one that stands out to me, was Dylan, who was the genie at the Aladdin Musical Spectacular show. And I remember being so awestruck that we were talking to the guy who played the genie of the show that I loved. And he talked to us for a long time and gave us a lot of great insight. And then, like Teresa said lately, I mean, we just, there's 2 interviews that we just had. We had Terry Hardin, who's a former Imagineer, which was amazing. We have Philander, who, if anybody, I mean, a lot of your people are from Instagram. Philander's amazing, and today just went up the 3rd episode and final episode with him, and both of them just made me think about Disney so differently than I had before, and those are great guests. And of course, we were talking a little bit earlier, we're going to end up having another Imagineer on after D23 that we've already recorded the interview for. So the fact that we are able to talk to these people who have made these things that make our great memories is just really amazing. And our community that we have is amazing. And we have people that, even if we stop doing the podcast today, I think we still have a few people that we have these great friendships built with that they were listeners and they came in and they kind of joined the community, and then they became friends through that. So I think that's the best thing that come from this podcast is the community and the friends we've made through it.
Yeah. But to kind of answer your original question, what is the podcast?
Oh, yes.
The podcast is just that. It's DL Weekly. So you guessed it. It's about Disneyland, and we put it out weekly. So every week we go through and talk about some of the news. Sometimes the news is really exciting stuff like the Silhouette Studio is back. Other times it's maybe not. I mean, it's exciting for some, but maybe it's like,
new
hey,
merch.
Guess what new churros out there? So it's kind of all over the place as far as what the news is for the resort. We also have, I think we like to I don't know, look crazy or something because we submit ourselves to trivia every week, and it is listener submitted, and they come up with, I don't even know how they think of some of these questions.
Yeah.
they're
It
wild. I
throws you
love
for a
it.
loop. You're like,
Yeah.
it's like, did they like go and like count things themselves? Did they look it
Right.
To
up? Like,
me-
how do you even
right.
come up with
Yeah, I
it?
feel like it's a double-edged sword because when we started doing it, I thought it was cool because in my mind, it was this will be a great way to prove to our listeners that we're knowledgeable about the parks. And then they
Oh my
started
gosh.
doing hard stuff, and
Nope.
now I would say more often than not, we don't know the answer.
Yeah.
But the way Teresa looks at it is it's a learning opportunity for everybody,
Mhm.
and it's good when we don't know because then we learn something new. And then it's funny because sometimes they go back and ask us questions they've already asked us, and we've forgotten. So
Yeah.
That's why Trivial Pursuit is such a great game because you
Yeah.
forget the questions. So
Exactly.
yeah,
And then, of course, I like to call it the heart and soul of each episode is our discussion topic.
Mhm.
When
Yes.
we first started out, that was more just Tag and I researching and talking about something
Mostly
that
Teresa. Let's be fair.
we were really passionate about or something we were really interested in, which evolved into having guests on, and guests have ranged from now former Imagineers to just other people that are, just mega fans like us that have different perspectives. So it's kind of all over the place. You kind of don't know what to expect when it comes to the discussion topic. But I think that's what makes it so cool is it's always something new and something interesting. We've talked to like people that are accountants for Disney, so we're looking at all different angles because it's just everybody's story is unique. And I think it's really fun to be able to share those.
And some of our episodes that we've
awesome.
had that we were really surprised by, like we had somebody on that taught us so much about food allergies in the park. Like that was on the surface doesn't sound very interesting, but she made it really interesting. And now I can't not see that stuff in the app and everything. So it's great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, food allergies my dad's lactose intolerant, so we have to like find all the dairy-free products and some places is easier than others, but like you talk directly to the chefs at most places. Like they come out and like, okay, what is your allergy? What can you eat, not eat? I'll go cook it myself personally. Like at the buffet at Storytellers Cafe, they walked him around the buffet pointing food out.
Wow.
Like
That's
they go
cool.
above and beyond, and that's not usual for food allergies. So pretty cool. All right, I'll ask the next
normal
question.
places they're just like, go ahead, try, see what happens.
Yeah.
Good luck to you.
It probably
Right.
doesn't have lactose in it.
Right.
I'm not
Are
really
you
sure.
sure it doesn't?
Yeah.
Yes, no, maybe so. I'll ask this next question, and then Cassandra, I'll let you take the lead on the next couple here. But you kind of touched base on it a little bit already. But who has been your favorite podcast guest and why? You guys have some pretty awesome people come on your show, and it's just amazing the stories they have to tell and share.
So I'll be honest, when you sent over the questions and I saw that one, I'm like, it's like choosing my favorite like child or something. They're all amazing for so many different reasons, but I do feel like a couple stand out for like, I'd say milestones for us.
That's fair.
So Lynn Barron from the Sweet Spot, I think was our first official somebody that we didn't know personally guest. So he will always stand out to me.
And he's one of the hosts of the Sweep Spot for those who may not know.
And we've become really good friends with him. We're looking forward to meeting up with them during D23. So not only was he our first guest, but we've had this like wonderful relationship with him.
He has a lot of connections because they've been doing their podcast longer. And his co-host has a lot of like Imagineering connections and stuff. And so they're able to get guests on because of just personal connections.
Right.
And he's actually helped us quite a bit with people. So Lynn is responsible for at least a partial amount of our success with interviews and stuff.
Yeah, with guests, which is just
That's awesome.
incredible. Another one that stands out is actually someone that Lynn had sent over to us. Was it Robin, right? Was that her name?
Oh, the ambassador.
One of the ambassadors. It was just really interesting and fun talking with her. And then I can't not mention Terry. We just feel so blessed to have had Terry because first of all, she's just an incredible human being, but also our first Imagineer. And I told her, I said, not that we like set it up this way or anything, but I said, Terry, I'm seriously so excited that you get like forever and always, you're going to be the first Imagineer that we had on the show. And I just think that's really cool.
What else is also interesting for those people who are watching this and have listened to the Terry Hardin interview, she was sick that day that she did the interview with us, and we did a Zoom call like we do with all of our guests. And usually we turn the camera on. We don't ever post that video, but it's easy when you're seeing someone to have the conversation better. And she apologized that she's like, I got to lay down because I'm not feeling well. She did that entire interview from her bed.
Yeah.
Wow.
And the fact that she came across, like, you wouldn't know that unless I told you.
No
and
idea.
She had so much energy.
Yeah.
I have to say, I'm with Teresa. All those people are wonderful. A couple people, if you're talking about milestones and really interesting stories, I'll say we had, what was her name? Joan, the first Peter Pan.
Yes.
She was amazing. And then, of course, I have to say that Philander had really gotten me. I know it's recent, but he really got me to think about a lot of different topics in a different way. So we talked about Tomorrowland, and he really got me to think, like, why don't we like Tomorrowland the way it is? Like, what is wrong with it, basically? And that made me really think. And then also just about newer attractions versus older attractions and stuff like that, where it comes down to, people that did not grow up with Disneyland of yore don't hold the same level of enthusiasm for those things as people now. And we even have people in our community that like DCA better because they grew up with both parks and they just happen to like DCA better. To me, it's like, oh, how could you possibly like DCA better? Yeah. But that's a great viewpoint to have because, everybody thinks, people, as you get older, the older people think of things pretty similarly with the parks, and then the younger people think of it differently. Star Wars is that way too. People didn't like the prequels, but now people that grew up with the prequels don't have a problem with the prequels.
Yep.
And the younger kids don't have a problem with the newer movies. So it's just that experience and the sentimentality and stuff that we have with it that brings a lot of that. So recognizing that and thinking about that when you're making comments or talking about things is really important. And I think that was really great.
Awesome.
Cool.
Very
Okay.
cool.
So next question for you guys, kind of like I said, just what you guys are looking forward to in the future. Any topic or, special guests that you're looking forward to in this coming year or finishing this year or even next year?
Well, I'll be honest. The interviews are always really fun because we kind of, either meet people like in real life and kind of make that connection. But then sometimes it's like fishing where you like throw the email out there and you're like, I don't know if that's actually going to get to your inbox or if that went to your spam or what happened. So even though, we connected and we talked about this, it's still kind of, a guessing game of what's going to pan out or not. But we do have a couple of people. So Greg Tag already mentioned that we have Greg is the next former Imagineer
Greg Combs,
that's coming on. So we're really excited about that because he, just to give everyone kind of a little preview, he not only did stuff here for the US parks, he did a lot of stuff over with Tokyo. So it was really interesting talking about, he was on the Tokyo Disney Sea project, which was happening while DCA was happening. So kind of hearing, putting that into perspective, I never realized those two things were happening at the same time because we just focus, of course, on DCA. But anyway, so hearing his stories on, both sides, he would, what was it, 30
and his
years,
perspective,
I think, that he was there?
That a lot of his perspective that, the knowledge out there that most of the fan base has is that DCA was a cheap park that like it was meant to be built as a cheap thing. He kind of set the record straight on that too. So
he made
I
us
won't
think
tell
about
you
that
why.
differently too.
Listen to the episode, but
This is good. We're getting a little teaser here, a little teaser preview.
But again, it's those guests that make you think of something differently, and he set the record straight that basically DCA was built and designed and everything exactly how it came out. Like what was put out on day one, DCA is what they intended with it. So it wasn't that they were just trying to do it cheap. That's what they were trying to do. And so it's kind of, and he goes more into it, but it's really kind of interesting to think of it that way. I'm excited for D23 Expo. I am crossing everything I can cross that the Parks panel will say something about Tomorrowland.
We'll see. I hope we'll see. And then you guys actually have a meetup, right? Did I get the info right? Just put the banner up right there.
Yes.
Hey.
So on the 10th from 8 to 10 at the Fireplace by Trader Sam's. You can get food there. You can bring your food over to it. We used to do it in the seating area there, but it's so hard to get seats and reservations and everything. And the fireplace has always been a really great spot. So, and it accommodates a little bit more people. It has a tiered area where we can take like a big group photo, which is nice too.
Yeah.
Perfect. It's great atmosphere there too. I love the Disneyland Hotel.
We're also doing Boogie Boogie Bash during this upcoming trip. So that's, I mean, what's not to look forward to with Boogie Boogie Bash? But I feel like I didn't really answer your question, but I just look so much forward to the guests, and I don't know what that answer is because we don't always know who we're going to have. So it's the possibility of who we could have. And it doesn't matter. We've talked to my favorite, he's actually now an official weekly tier, but we had, why am I blanking on his name? Accountant. Devin. Yep. We had Devin on, and he's like, why? Like, he told us that he worked for Disney Plus, but he worked on like the accounting and finance side. And he's like, this is not exciting. I'm like, I don't know. I think there's something here. It was fascinating to hear about his thoughts and how he sees shows. At the time, WandaVision had just come out. And so he doesn't get to see what WandaVision is on the screen until like us, like when it goes live, like the rest of us. But he gets to see like the numbers that is going into these shows. So he was saying
financially.
Yeah, like financially.
Right.
So he's seeing like the budgets and stuff. He doesn't, maybe he knows who's it's going to and stuff like that. So he might have an idea of who's like on payroll, but as far as the actual overall, he has no clue. So he's watching these shows, and he said specifically with WandaVision, he's watching the first couple. He's like, there's going to be something huge happening because I know how much money they spent and they have not spent it yet. I just thought that was so weird. Like
That's
such
hilarious.
a weird and fascinating way to look at and watch a show.
Yeah. Oh, that'll be fun. That's awesome.
I love it. I love finding these stories and finding these like hidden gems in things that people are like, I don't think that they don't think it's interesting because it's whatever normal to them. So I just love that.
And we have another
but it's not normal, and it's interesting.
Right,
exactly.
and one more thing that's we haven't booked him yet, but he has agreed to be on in the future is another Imagineering, Eddie Soto.
Nice.
Who he's just a fun guy. I actually first saw stuff with him. I did a stream. Or I was a guest of not a guest, like not on it, but I was a audience member of one of the Walt Disney Family Museum streams, and they had him on and talked about some things. And I was like, he's a great story, of course, Imagineer, great storyteller. And I found him on Twitter, and I was like, I'll just shoot him a message and see what happens. And he messaged us and said that he would be on. He was just on a podcast, so he didn't want to commit to anything right now because he doesn't want to burden people out. But once we get through Teresa's backlog, we'll approach him again.
Oh, that's exciting. Oh, you guys have lots of good stuff coming.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, maybe I shouldn't say this to people, but if you're thinking of doing a podcast or you have a podcast, just reach out to people. Like we were, for the longest time, we're so afraid to just message people and ask. Because a lot of these folks have social media accounts, and just reach out to them. The worst they can do is say no or ignore you, and that's what you're getting by not asking. And we've gotten people that way. Eddie Soto messaged him on Twitter. Dylan, the genie, messaged him on Instagram. Philander messaged him on Instagram. So, Terry Hardin, we just approached her at Disneyana, and she was happy to do it. And we've gotten people through. We had the poet from Nebraska. He put us in contact with Greg Combs, and we got that worked out. So just put it out there. We got Lynn on because we just messaged Lynn. We're like, hey, we've listened to your podcast. Would you like to be on? He was like, sure. So, and then you guys contacted us. We're like, sure. Like,
just messaged you. Exactly.
So don't be afraid. Don't be afraid.
That's awesome. That is great advice. So I think we just have a couple more questions here. So if anybody watching has some questions, go ahead and pop them in the comments there. And if you are watching the replay, then definitely leave a comment with your questions and we will get back to you. So let's see, Cassandra, what did we have next?
Mostly just about, can you tell us a little bit more about your community and then the VIP perks?
For those who your don't, Patreon.
Correct.
Yeah. So our Patreon, the biggest perk, I think, is we have this amazing community, and the best access to the community is through our Discord. And so, I mean, daily there's something fun and exciting. Yesterday one of our supporters, Dave, just like messaged in the chat early in the morning. He's like, so the kids are off to school. I don't have like classes until next week. Why not go to Disneyland? And we're like, haha, Dave. 2 hours later, there he is, like walking under the train station. And so he did a solo trip, just went down for the day. He does not live like in Southern California, so it was definitely like 2 plane rides for him to do this, but he just had like a blast with it. And then the fact that he's then sharing his experience, you know, with us in the chat, so we could all live vicariously through him, was just amazing. We have like a fun and games channel where people post like maybe trivia or some of those, you know, like fun quizzes that you see online.
Park meetups, so people can get together.
Channel.
There's a whole bunch of people. Funny enough, people seem to like cluster in certain areas. We have a lot of supporters in the Pacific Northwest, in like the Seattle, Portland area, and they met up just like a month ago. They organized their own meetup and they went to the zoo together. It was like so cool. Producer James and I went on a road trip last summer, and we went up through there and we met them, and we went to this little like park that's up there called the Enchanted Forest. And we spent like, I spent a day, James and I, with some supporters that live up there. And this community is just great. Now, to tell some people about it, you can join for as little as $1. $1 doesn't really get you much except for a shout out on the podcast, and you get to support us, which is great if that's what you can afford. The $3 levels where real stuff starts happening. That's where you can get into the Discord chat. And then also you get an annual supporter gift and
a sticker.
And a sticker.
Who doesn't like stickers?
Gotta love stickers.
And Teresa handwrites cards for everybody. I told her if it was up to me, I'd be like, why don't we just print a bunch and we just sign them? And she's like, no, I got to handwrite them.
It's so much more meaningful. Yeah,
it is.
At $5 a month, you then get there's a monthly episode live stream that we do, as well as a monthly bonus episode. So if you want more podcast content, that would be the one to go for. Our cast member adds a group video chat with us. And then you also get a button. So if buttons are your thing to wear in the parks, there's a button. At
the $20 level, you get, we might phase this out because it's just kind of silly, but we have a supporter certificate, which is kind of, so D20, when you join D23, they give you this like certificate that you joined D23. We have something like that for supporters. You also get an enamel pin, which we have a version of right here.
We're pretty proud of this thing.
This took quite a while to get kind of right because of the way our logo works. And then a quarterly one-on-one stream with us. And then at the top level, if you're crazy and want to support us for $50 a month, you also get a quarterly one-on-one stream with us. So we'll just do like a Zoom call with you. And then a choice of t-shirt from the store or dinner with us in the parks.
Fun. Now, those one-on-one streams, is that just like random Disney chatting, or you help answer the questions for their park visit?
Whatever they want.
Whatever they want.
It's open to whatever the person wants to chat about. That's a lot of times, it's so questions.
Cute. Love it.
And it's usually podcast specific questions. But yeah, we happy to, because we're just big fans too. So we have, we don't even realize it, but we have tips and tricks. So yeah, we're happy to share that kind of knowledge with people for sure.
Awesome.
Oh, now the camera's
so
not
cool.
all funny.
The pin and it'll readjust, right?
There we go. Nope. I've learned that sometimes if you stop the camera and start it, it'll do good. Let's see if I can just.
Now everybody's got your fingerprints.
Refocus.
That's okay.
Refocus it.
It'll figure itself out.
All right, and you guys have a website as well, dlweekly.net.
Yep.
And that links to the different podcast episodes and everything. Is there anything additional that they'll get from going to the website specifically?
Discounts.
Yeah, some other cool things is we have a couple of partners. One of them is the Howard Johnson, which is a hotel right across the street from the parks. So we do have special DL Weekly discounts that you can take advantage of. The link and discount codes are right there in the on
the front page.
Right on the front, yeah. And then we also have we're teamed up with Designer Park Company that makes this amazing backpack. If you have not heard of them or have not seen this backpack, you need to go check them out. They were on episode, I want to say 222. But they basically were just people that enjoyed going to the park that were frustrated with their backpack options. And so they just made a backpack. And
That's awesome.
Who does that?
I'm like, this is, again, like the stories, I'm like, how do you just have like make a backpack? But they did it. And so right now they've got two different designs. One's kind of more geared towards female. The new one's more geared towards like male. A little bit different design. Really, though, they're both unisex.
I'm getting the male
very
one, like one of the first ones. They're hand delivering it to me
Yeah.
at D23, so I'm very excited for that.
Exciting.
Yeah.
Oh,
Teresa
fun.
loves hers. Yours isn't up here, is it?
It's downstairs because I was
Oh.
using it as a purse this weekend. But you can like clip your ears to it's basically kind of like a Loungefly, but better because it's bigger. You can clip your ears on the front, so if you don't want to be wearing your ears, you don't have to try and shove them in your bag. If you're a pin person, there's like a pin pocket on the front, so you can display your pins.
Is this the Park Hopper backpack?
This is the Park Hopper backpack.
I have seen that pop up a lot. It looks
The rope
awesome.
drop.
Oh, that's it.
Rope dropper. Yes,
the rope drop.
Rope dropper.
And then the new one's called the Master Gracie, which again, the Master Gracie is a little bit wider and taller, not as deep, but I mean, it's just wild.
I'm so excited for this.
Very
and then they
cool.
both come with a hydration kit. Was their main concern was they were having hydration things and they didn't want to be using, what were they using? Camelbacks, I think. They're like, this is not convenient to try and fill this
Not
up.
for
So
Disney, no.
they have these really fun functional bags that include a hydration kit.
But there's some things about
That's
these
so
bags
cool.
that are amazing. Like they have, like Teresa was saying, they have an area for pins,
Yeah.
which is nice because you don't have to mess up your good bag. And it doesn't have like the clear plastic thing. They come with some screw pin back things, which are great. Also, what I personally am excited about is that they have a male version because, there's Loungefly backpacks, but most guys are not going to be wearing one of these tiny Loungefly backpacks around. So the fact that there's this Master Gracie coming out that's done, it looks like this beautiful kind of two-tone leather situation, and I'm very excited for plus hydration because I forget all the time to drink when we're in the park, and then you get dehydrated. And
I promise this was not a paid advertisement.
No,
we're just this excited about.
No, I'm excited to hear about it. Like I've seen it. I'm just like, oh, that looks interesting.
Yeah,
I love my Loungefly, but like I really like the clip the ears to it. And
the Loungeflies are like fun and cute, but this is just more, I think, more functionality.
Yeah.
So if you're just going for the day and just need like one or two things with you, heck yeah, rock the Loungefly. But I don't know why, but I seem to accumulate and carry a lot of stuff, so I need more space.
I legit am gonna check that out because like I end up being the camel for the family. So
and the other cool thing, they have this bag. Like, so not only do you have a bigger bag, they have this net that you can like undo from the bottom. So what was I calling it? Like the safety net. So like say you have a jacket and you don't want to wear your jacket anymore. Well, nobody wants to shove their jacket in the bag because then it takes over. So they have this net on the bottom so you can like extend.
That's really cool. I did not know that. That's awesome.
How do you think of these things, people? But
right?
Genius. Park people that are like, we need a better solution, and they just
especially when you don't just have the stroller anymore to shove it all into that.
Exactly.
All right.
We're gonna have to have a whole conversation about backpacks and
I know, right? We'll have to have it, yes. So Loungefly versus rope dropper versus
just your standard backpack.
And then as you guys see, this is also what happens on the podcast all the time. We get totally off topic and ramble on forever about something.
No worries, bringing it back to focus.
She's always like, why are we on this whole tangent? I'm like, sometimes people like the tangents.
The tangents are fun. It's entertaining, and you really feel, I will say, that's one thing about your podcast I really like. You feel like you're a part of the conversation, which it's on paper is silly because it's a podcast. Like you're listening to a one-sided conversation, but you feel yourself being like, oh yeah, no, I know that answer, or that's crazy. And then you guys say that's a crazy question. And it's really like a conversation with friends who are also obsessed with Disney. So
we had multiple listeners who have become supporters and start or come to a meetup or something. And they said, it's so weird because I talk back to the podcast. It's so weird to meet you in person or talk to you in person because you talk back.
You responded.
Right?
You can hear me.
Right? So well done. Very cool.
Well, we're glad that you're there because we're just talking to know what, like,
Right. Oh, so much fun. I love the podcast you guys have. It is awesome. And for those who are not obsessed with Disney, you still get a lot of great tips and tricks and interesting insights. So definitely worth a listen for the whole spectrum of Disney lovers. Are you super active on any particular social media outlet for people to follow you on? Or is it more Patreon, podcast, website?
So I will be honest, we're not the best at the social media game. We're trying to get better. Instagram's our go-to though. So like this upcoming trip, it's so much easier for us to do Instagram stories and just quick little posts and updates. So Instagram's probably the best place to follow us. We do also update on Twitter and Facebook, but not.
And if you're a supporter, we're in our chat all the time talking about
We're in the chat all the It's so funny because people, when they dropped in, they're like, we didn't realize you'd be like right there. We're like, well, this is fun for us too. So heck yeah, we're going to be part of these conversations. So yeah.
Perfect. Well, we are just about the 45-minute mark, which I'm like, oh, we'll do about 30 minutes, but it'll probably go 45. That's where we're
for an hour because we just know.
Right. Just no, we just can't stop talking Disney. Thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us. Let us know a little bit more about your podcast. And then don't forget, any listeners, any replay followers, over the next day, I'm going to go through. Message me on Instagram or Facebook, Family Travel Folio. The word is Stitch, like Lilo and Stitch. So message that to me, and that will be a bonus entry. Share this in this YouTube live. Sorry, we're not on Instagram. YouTube live, and just DM me a screenshot of sharing it in your stories or sharing it on your page, so I can mark a bonus entry for that. And then any comments, questions over the next 24 hours, we will count as an entry as well. So. Any last minute comments, Cassandra? Any more questions for them? Do you guys have anything else you want to add?
I mean, I could go on forever, so I think I'll DM you guys later. It's all
I'm with Cassandra. I will talk forever.
Let's keep going.
Awesome.
Thank you both so much for inviting us to do this. This was really, really fun.
Yeah.
It was fun. I think this is like the first official time we've been on the other side of the interview process. So, yeah. So thank you for that.
Yeah, it put you in the hot seat.
Yeah.
Work just to show up and answer questions.
I don't know. There were some hard questions because they made me pick between things.
True.
They
did, yeah.
Thank you so much, everyone. Have a great day.
Thank you.